Hey there guys, how you doing? My name is Emmanuel Roscoe, and this is our final and last project that we will be doing. And in doing so this project, I did learn a lot of stuff about the country that I chose, which was Japan. So there's, there's so much stuff to learn about Japan. There's a lot of things that I learned, things that I already knew, just confirmed. To start off, that is somewhere that I would like to go in the future. When? I'm not too sure when I would want to go, to be honest, but I know more so sooner than later. So I learned that Japan is actually consistently built up of islands, and it is in an area called the Ring of Fire. So one of my fun facts that I wrote about was that it's prone to tsunamis, earthquakes. It's one of the places that has one of the most active volcanoes as well. You know, the language, although I did think it was just Japanese, it was way more than Japanese. There's like, I can't even pronounce them, but there's like 4 other ones besides Japanese. Although Japanese is the main language, one thing that I found interesting was that people that speak English, it's actually not that common. It's not even, it's like somebody here speaking some type of native language, so it's rare. It's not even there. Another thing that I learned while doing this was that in Japan, the holidays, there's not as many as here. We have Mother's Day, Father's Day, St. Patrick's Day, Easter's, but just so many holidays for no reason. And in Japan, there's a couple, like 4 or 5. But the most important ones are New Year's Eve and the president, or my bad, not the president, the emperor, because in Japan there is no president. It is an emperor. Although he's not like a dictator, he does have the supreme power. So kind of like the dictator, but not really. But yeah, in Japan, they celebrate the emperor's birthday, which is like a national holiday. And in Japan, there is a royal palace, which people only go to during New Year's Eve and during not the president, I keep on saying president, during the emperor's birthday. And yeah, so in his birthday, or whichever emperor it is, or whatever birthday their birthday may be, is when they celebrate this. I thought that was really interesting that everybody goes and stops and celebrates this. So this is like their Mother's Day, their Father's Day, or their Christmas type of, everybody does it. Another thing that I found out was that Japan actually has a lot of companies that we didn't even know. Well, some of us didn't know. I didn't know that. Nintendo, Sony. I thought Sony was, made in China or something, because we just assume things that we don't know. But yeah, I mean, Toyota, Lexus, Mitsubishi, Suzuki, Nintendo, Sony, these are all things that are produced in Japan, and most of their economy is supply and demand. So what that means is, if more people want it, it will go up in price, and it will become, something that sells more. Whereas opposed to, if not a lot of people want it, it's gonna be something that's not as valuable. It doesn't hold its value. And that's basically how our economic system works. It's not based on too many other things. It's mostly, supply and demand. The higher, the more they want, the more they sell. Another thing that I found interesting about Japan was that in Japan, there is more of a masculine versus feminine energy, whereas opposed to here where we live, it's more equal rights. The man as a woman, they have equal tasks, equal things they do, where in Japan, the man was told, you have to be tough, strong, lead your family, guide your family, be that rock for the family. And the woman is told to, have the kids, take care of the kids, educate the kids, and be obedient to the husband in the marriage. So that was one thing that it was very interesting, actually, as opposed to where we live, where there's equality in genders. In Japan, there was not so much. Another thing that I was found interesting while learning about Japan was that their clothing, actually, back then they would use the kimono. I think that pronounced it right. The kimono was like this long, had like a robe. It almost looks like one of those like sleeping, forgetting out the shower type of robes, but obviously they're more tough, more durable, more purposeful. But yeah, they had a kimono, and back then, you know, that was the traditional thing. And the people that had money, they had more elegant, better material, more elegant patterns, whereas the people who were low class, it was more like used, patched up, the patterns weren't as loud, the colors weren't as vibrant. And that was something that I found very interesting, that it just goes to show how everybody wore the same thing, but you can tell who had money by the way it looked or if it was patched up. And there's a lot of stuff that I learned about Japan that I didn't know about necessarily before going into the project, and I think that was very cool and just really interesting to learn about it. And in a way, I feel like I'm just, you know, way more knowledgeable than I was about Japan, to the point where if I ever was to go, yeah, I would be able to, you know, respect the culture, appreciate it, and even, you know, participate in some of the holidays if I was lucky enough to go. So overall, I think this was a successful project. I really enjoyed it, and it just gave me more to learn about overall Japan as a country, the language, the people, the holidays, the food. Oh, I forgot about the food. Don't even let me forget about that. The sushi, the onigiri, the sashimi, the tempura. Those are things that I eat here, and I think if I did go there, I would like to experience it like traditionally made, the proper, you know. It's like, if I'm Salvadorian, half Mexican, I like pupusas. When I go to El Salvador, I like to eat my pupusas fresh from the motherland. Although they're good here, but over there they're just cheaper and better. And I know in Japan it will probably even be cheaper, and they'll be way better. And yeah, I just look forward to that. And thank you to the professor for this project, and it was a good opportunity.